welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and this is our second video from the Color Challenge, which is going on over on Twitch. That is, I'm trying to win 7 games in a constructed event with a deck of every color combination in MTG Arena. So for the second challenge, green came up. Now, I originally tried a traditional stompy type build, the Nullhide Ferox Galta big trampling monsters deck, and I failed miserably. I spent probably 2 or 3 events trying to get there, and I was hardly winning any games. I switched over to the Elf tribe, and the Elf Ball decks that I found online seem to only play one way and have no options to them. And they also play cards like Vanquisher's Banner, which I found very narrow. And I made some switches and I came up with this Elf Ball, elf related deck. And one thing is we cut Vanquisher's Banners, all of them, and replace them with Vivien Reids, who can draw creatures but also kill artifacts, enchantments, or flyers, and be a different creature type to insulate you, give you some counterplay against sweepers. And to sort of make up for the card advantage loss from that, we added Shaper's Sanctuaries, 4 of them. So if the idea is that you need to draw cards, Shaper's Sanctuary is a very cheap way to do it. We also cut out Pelt Collector because in the new version of the deck, there weren't that many ways to grow it. Most of these creatures, when they enter the battlefield, Llanowar Elves, Druid of the Cowl, the Clancaller, the Nurturer, they do not grow a Pelt Collector. Thorn Lieutenant and Beast Whisperer combined grow at once, and Steelleaf Champion is the only one really holding it down. In fact, Steelleaf Champion looks odd in the deck now. It's the only high-powered threat, but still, its ability to win games and simply close is what you need. I also cut Adventurous Impulse. I found it was really hard to curve out. And if you had Adventurous Impulse, it was like having a tap land in a deck that never wanted a tap land. That's why we're running 23 Forest instead. And because mono red is a thing, Diamond Mare, a 1-of, got put in the deck. This actually saved me in at least 2 games that I can recall. It's good to have some angle for life gain, and you find it more often than you think when you get Vivien Reid going. And then 1 pause for reflection. Those big alpha strikes from Merfolk and the white decks with heroic reinforcements, it's kind of amazing how much a 0-mana fog can catch you, as all you have to do is tap some of the creatures you have to use pause for reflection. And this also saved me in a few games, so I'm excited to show you the deck. And as far as like a budget build or something of that nature, the cards I think you absolutely need to run this version of Elves are the Clancaller and the Beast Whisperer. There are a lot of other rares, like Steelleaf Champion, Marwyn the Nurturer, Thorn Lieutenant, Shaper's Sanctuary. Vanquisher's Banner is also a rare. This is a rare-heavy deck, but a good amount of them can be replaced by other elves. Elves I'm not using, including another rare, Pelt Collector, but perhaps you already have it. The Dissident is a decent enough replacement for Thorn Lieutenant as a mana sink, but it's not that good of a card. I would avoid it if I could. But you might just need to fill some things in. Getting in Rejuvenators or District Guides is nice. We don't need Reclamation Sage because we have Vivien Reid to do the job, but if you don't have Vivien Reid, some Reclamation Sage can get in there. Don't think, though, that you can make budget elves work very well. It does require a good number of rares, and I would only get into it if you really want to be on the elf tribe or you have rare cards to throw around. Otherwise, kick back and enjoy the show. Well, our deck has a very interesting 1-2-3 in this hand. Shapers into Lieutenant into Champ, and I think it's a worthy keep. It's going to be hard for our opponent, I think, to beat down or get through us when we have Lieutenant and Steelleaf with Shapers. So let's see what kind of red deck we're up against. Drakes. Okay, so they plan to go over the top, which is scary. Oh, 1,000-Year Storm. No, they don't care at all. they don't care what we are up to. Vivien Reid, though, we'll have to find Vivien Reid. If we can find that, they're going to have a very hard time 1,000-Year Storming. Because we'll put them on a good clock, force them to tap out for their storm. The 1,000-Year Storm deck doesn't usually run counter spells because they don't help you combo off when the crucial turn comes. So I'm not going to play around counters here. Opt to the bottom. They need to hit land drops. They need to stay alive. So burning 2 ops here is pretty good against Thousand Year Storm. Green, they're a ramp deck as well. That's interesting and could help out a lot. Let's see what they find. Is playing a ramp spell here what you do? They are going to go with Lava Coil. The damage output from the Steel Leaf is a lot, so yep, gotta respect that. The Diamond Mare is an interesting draw. Because if you gain enough life, Thousand Year Storm has to go off harder, and maybe on the crucial turn they won't have it. However, the mana efficient play is a Beast Whisperer, but the damage efficient play is another champion. I will play the champion. This is a race. We want to do as much damage as we can. Drawing the extra cards, the only thing that we could really be trying to get to is Vivien Reid for the Storm, which, if it comes to that, we might already be losing. Here's Grow from the Ashes. That will set the Storm up. Remember, our opponent discarded a Storm early, meaning that they have another one. Otherwise, I don't think you'd ever discard it. Alright, we have Beast Whisperer, Llanowar Elves, draw a card. We also have Diamond Mare, Clancaller, and Llanowar Elves. If we're about damage, let's stay about damage. So we'll lead with Diamond Mare. This actually might turn out important. A little bit of extra life can throw the Storm deck off on the crucial turn. They may also run Star of Extinction. Ugh. Still, I think we're in a place where we just gotta go at them. Just have to attack a lot. Almost certainly they're thinking about when and how to Lightning Strike. Down to 7. We'll play a Llanowar Elf and gain another life point. Well, we finally see what our opponent is sitting over there thinking about. A Lightning Strike for the Llanowar Elf, not the Clancaller. Interesting. Here is Rawl. Rawl can minus and kill something.
I'm gonna hover over you like a dark cloud.
They had plenty of cards. So probably the Steel Leaf going down. Yep. So the Llanowar, in theory, turned on the Thorn Lieutenant to get pumped. Maybe that's what our opponent is most afraid of. I think I'm going to try pumping the Thorn Lieutenant right now. Because if it resolves, all I have to do is send the Thorn Lieutenant at the opponent's face. If it didn't resolve, I could kill the Rawl. And I can still do an attack like this. If our opponent has a fog, it doesn't matter. And a Fiery Cannonade will not do it.
Come on.
Oh, the Clancaller. Oh no! The death of the Clancaller means the opponent survives. Oh.
Just want to peek.
That's really slick. It's kind of amazing that a Fiery Cannonade did that low level of work against this deck. 1 life. Root Snare would be nice. We see a circuitous root. But I don't feel like this is a deck that runs fogs. Maybe it should. Maybe Fog 1000-Year Storm is a thing. Yep, draw the coil. Take that action. Draw the card. Lava Coil the Lieutenant makes a 1/1. Hiya! By the slimmest of margins, because of some ghastly some horrendous mistakes. Learn from me. Do not do as I do. Alright, being on the draw is a bit slow, but I like Sanctuary into Lieutenant into Champion, so let's roll with it. Red mana. That is definitely a matchup where the Sanctuary and the Lieutenant and the Champion all can do a lot of work. Marwyn is a little tougher. You have to try to time her with another elf so chain whirling isn't disastrous. Oh my. Well, this opponent's decided to handle the Sanctuary by going face. That's a lot of face damage. But here comes a blocker. Take action. Draw a card, make an elf. And I will block with this elf. I need to preserve every life point against red. Every single one. And here's another blocker. What's your plan for this one? Go. Alright. So for this turn, for my next trick, my friends, double Shaper Sanctuary, double Steel Leaf Champion. Get in there. Let's start the timer on the red deck. Game over. I like this hand. We have a turn 2 Marwyn that could be a turn 3 Vivien Reid. On the draw is the only unfortunate part, and the fact that all these creatures die to Chain Whirler potentially. Oh my gosh, do we have to slow roll the opt every time? Alright. I'll be over here when you decide when you're going to cast this beloved opt. Have to do it. The end of turn on the opponent's turn, always. Even when all you really want is a land, and you'll take anything that's a land. Yes, I know it makes sense to wait for quote-unquote information. Sometimes. There's a shock. And it looks like we're dealing with the Drake deck again. It's a very rough matchup. If you aren't slamming Steel Leaf Champions, you're usually behind. However, sometimes you get a board and Vivien Reid kills their Enigma Drake or their Crackling Drake ahead of curve, and you feel great. Nothing in the graveyard. That is concerning. Let's see what you've got when I attack you with this. How about this? Excellent. Good. The giant Marwyn can also really tilt the opponent if they're not able to kill it in time. If they let it have a turn or two or try to ignore it. And this opponent apparently knows that. More Clancallers, making the 2/2s into actual 2/2s. Opponent possibly more point and click removal. No, there is the Drake. So this is the part where you find out if they play Maximize Velocity or Dive Down, and they're going to be the Velocity type. Getting there for 6. It is a problem.
Would you like to see field beasts are much more reliable than humans?
Down with that Drake. Now, maybe the next Drake will attack Vivien, maybe not. Let's see what they have. An Arclight Phoenix obviously would be a great attacker for Vivien. But if they use the Maximize Velocity to kill off the Reid, we're very, like, that could have been a lot worse.
Scars are lessons written. Most wounds can heal.
Alright. Do we go get another Clancaller or do we play our Elf Army? Let's see, this is a 3/3, this is a... They're 3 power, so I can always get a Clancaller next turn and have them turn to 4 power, so we attack this turn. Our opponent is down to 1 card, which is where you want the Drake deck. Let's see. So they can block 1, take 8. Or we could hold both back and simply fetch another one, and then any block on these elves kills the Enigma Drake. Although they die if the opponent has another Lightning Strike or Shock. Alright. We could do nothing. Play Thorn Lieutenant, fetch Clancaller. That's the less risky line. And since the opponent didn't attack, it does make some sense to me. Or we could attack with this Druid, and if the opponent doesn't block, we don't even have to go for it. It's an interesting spot where there's a lot of different ways this could go. Playing around some kind of a bouncer removal on a Clancaller seems the safest. If our opponent makes a block here, then they do get the... Then they can't kill it. Well, they play a spell, then this is a 5 power. Let's just not. Let's wait 1 turn. If we wait 1 turn, I don't think the opponent can beat us. And they didn't attack last turn. Seems like they won't be able to get there. And that is going to do it. So, the reason I held back is if the opponent had a shock or an instant speed removal spell to kill one of the Clancallers, even if I fetched another, they could also take out a Llanowar Elf or the Druid of the Cowl. They would take 3 damage, and from there, almost any good draw or board presence gets them back in the game. Whereas if I wait 1 turn and I get 1 more Clancaller without risking anything in combat, I don't think there's anything they can do. Now, it does open up some crazy lines to maximize velocity, but if the opponent had that, I don't think they would have played the way they did in those last few turns. I hope that explains it. I'm sure some of you in comments are raging. All right, we're on the draw. We've been on the draw a lot today. I'm going to keep Llanowar Elves into probably Druid of the Cowl, maybe a Diamond Mare. But we have a Llanowar Elf along with a bunch of elves. What more could you ask for in life? We don't have any of our advantage engines. There's no Shaper's... There's a Shaper Sanctuary. I'll play it next turn, though. When I see green, I think that my elf will live at least a little while. And our opponent with a Wild Growth Walker, so this could be interesting. Let's play a Sanctuary. Let's play a Diamond Mare. That extra life could turn out really handy in some kind of long game face-off between Explore decks and green elf decks. Steel Leaf. Oh boy, we're going to need bigger things. play a Thorn Lieutenant, that will gain a life. We'll play a Druid of the Cowl because more mana is good. That will gain another life. And here you go. Runic Armasaur. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of a creature or land that isn't a mana ability, so that would include our Thorn Lieutenant for an example. Good pull. It does not include the ability of Diamond Mare. That is a triggered ability, not an activated ability. Gotta watch that wording. Oh yay. This is going to be a fun little vomit your hand, green on green action, but how will it end? I will block. Beast Whisperer, excellent, but is it better to play Vivien Reid? We're in a pretty stable position. Vivien Reid can also get land. Beast Whisperer I'd rather play when it does draw a card, whereas Vivien draws a card immediately.
Would you? The wilds are my shield.
And here, I love Marwyn a lot, but I better take the land. Hitting land drops can make a big deal. Can be a big deal in these matchups. I'm confident in my ability to find more creatures. Land, maybe not. Goreclaw, uh-oh. We have to get ready for Ghalta. We've got to start beefing up our defenses.
No one knows the wilds like I do.
The pause for reflection on the bottom is absolutely tragic. This is definitely the matchup where you want that card. Life and a card for every elf we play. And now I'm finding land easily. Too easily. Now remember, we can turn these into 6/7s if we get into a staring match. Nullhide Ferox. Vivien Reid. Yep, here comes the big stuff, but it's not Ghalta. It's not quite Ghalta. The opponent will have to attack this Vivien Reid.
My newest friend.
They absolutely must, because if it ultimates, I don't think they can win. We can play this Thorn Lieutenant, have another blocker, and be able to pump one of our Thorn Lieutenants to eat the Nullhide Ferox. Remember, they draw a card from Runic Armasaur when we use that ability, but I think it's worth it. And now it's up to the opponent. They can give Trample. That is a thing that happens too. Llanowar Elves, yep. So they're going nuts as well. Okay, trample, trample, and trample. So we have to block enough so that our Vivien lives. But if Vivien ultimates, we should win. So trample, trample, trample. So we need 6 blocking ability in front of... Okay, we need to go to blocks first because we're not in blocks now. Let's go to declare blockers. All right, 6 blocking ability in front of a Vivien Mare. Thorn Lieutenant will get pumped. Oh wait, no it won't. Because this is a 7/7 now. So a pumped Thorn Lieutenant can take on the Vivien Mare. Against this, we need at least 3. So you can go over there as well. All right, that absorbs all that damage. And this is 4. So we can go with you and we can go with you. And then we don't have our Llanowar Elves involved. Should they be? Is there any place where they should be? Yes, because they can take out the Ferox. With enough blocking on the Ferox will die. Okay. Is there any way to do that differently or better? It would leave the Goreclaw. That's the biggest thing, but I think that's okay. 8 blockers. Now we have to remember to pump this one. We have to pump this one once our opponent decides how to order the blocks. Getting decent in combat with your timer going and setting good blocks is something that you don't get to practice much. Maybe you learned something getting to watch this. I hope so. I usually learn a little bit every time. So again, make sure you're on the right Thorn Lieutenant. Here we go. Don't be surprised the opponent gets a card. And here comes the beating. Gorklaw lives. We draw Druid of the Cowl. We ultimate Vivien Reid, which makes our creatures +2/+2, Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible. Which means I can attack at will here. They have Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible, so yeah. Pumping this would have got the opponent to 1, but not 0. So I'd rather have my mana available on defense. And it would have given the opponent an extra card. Who knows? Maybe the Explorer would help them in some way. Brontodon, okay. Yep, sending a message to the Shaper's Sanctuary and scooping it up. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this look at the Elf deck. I will say in closing that it is built for a very specific meta. It is what I was running into before the Pro Tour in the best of 7 queues, which is a lot of Jeskai and a lot of mono red. Other decks can be a challenge. The Drake deck is a challenge, and the white aggro deck is a severe challenge. So I don't know if it's the right time to keep playing Elves, but the 7 wins, you can't take that away from it. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you will get to try out the Elves. Thanks to all my viewers. The amount of views lately have been going quite a bit up, and it's very exciting to see. And thank you all just for being here and watching. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.